Ealing is in the middle of an unprecedented building boom. Since 2012, 181 towers of 10 stories or more have been built or are in the pipeline, and there are 35 of 20 stories or more. These buildings all need council approval. Planning law says developments must comply with a local plan prepared by the council after consultation with the public and examination by a planning inspector. Ealing's local plan came out in 2012. But almost before the ink was dry, Ealing's planners quickly set aside their plan and welcomed developers and property speculators to exploit our leafy suburb for one of the most aggressive building programmes in London. The result? A rash of tall buildings across the borough designed to maximise developer profits while delivering few of the homes Ealing's families need. Join us, the Red Block Rebels, on an aerial tour to see some of what this means for our borough. Our tour starts at the Old BlackSo HQ in Greenford. With over 2,000 new homes, this is the borough's second largest development. Its out-of-centre location would be ideal for much-needed family housing. But over half the homes will be studios or one-bedroom flats. Ealing's local plan values good design, but these giant square blocks are bland and inward-looking. They pay little regard to the site's prominent setting on the bend of the Grand Union Canal. Our next stop is the renowned Art Deco Hoover Building. Ignoring 526 local objections, planning officers supported a 22-storey block of flats directly behind it. Historic England was appalled, saying the flats would harm the building's landmark status. They considered it out of place in an area of interwar suburban housing and small-scale industrial estates. The flats have been reduced to 16 floors, but remain an eyesore. Close by is the council-owned Gerner Centre. A planning application is expected soon to close this popular swimming pool for 3 years and rebuild it along with more than 600 flats in 6 towers up to 17 stories. But the site is designated Metropolitan Open Land. Like the Greenbelt, it should be left undeveloped and protected for recreation or nature conservation. Quite what Ealing Council will get from the deal is unclear. The last we heard, the developer had decided not to rebuild the leisure centre or provide any affordable housing. They'll leave that with the associated risks to the council. Over now to Southall. But let's pause at the BP garage on Greenford Road. In 2019, Ealing approved a 14-storey block that will tower above the houses on this residential street. With no policy against this, is any street with a petrol station safe from this kind of vandalism? Here we are in Southall, where the Ealing plan target was 4,200 new homes by 2026. Already, consent has been granted or planned for more than 12,500, 3 times more than in the plan. What's the point of planning when targets overshoot this way? The disused gasworks site, now renamed Southall Waterside, is set to deliver over 3,700 of these homes. The plan boasts these would make a significant contribution to improving air quality for the area as a whole. But Ealing took its eye off the ball. It was obvious an ex-gasworks site would be full of dangerous chemicals like benzene, asbestos and cyanide. Sure enough, as soon as the building work started, nearby residents complained bitterly about the pollution and health problems they and their families were experiencing. The duty to safeguard the public from environmental harm starts with Ealing Council's environmental health team. Southall's furious residents don't think they're doing a very good job. The plan calls the land south of the railway the southeast quadrant. Remember the 4,200 homes earmarked for Southall as a whole? More than 5,000 have been approved on this old industrial land alone. That's up to 16,000 additional residents according to the developer's figures, numbers supposedly justified by the proximity to Southall station. Can even the new Crossrail service cope with the increase in commuting these homes will generate? Next stop is council-owned Warren Farm. A glorious 25 hectares of metropolitan open land Teeming with wildlife, Warren Farm is a vital breathing space for densely packed communities like Southall next door. As with Gerner, Warren Farm's MOL status should protect it, but the council decided to hand it over to Queen's Park Rangers Football Club as a training centre. QPR planned to fence off the land, put up several buildings and create 721 car parking spaces. Objectors challenged the environmental impact of its plans in court. It's been a long battle, but QPR has now given up. Moving east, Trumpers Way is another oversized development some distance from public transport. As with Greenford Quay, an ideal location for family homes, but the approved development will deliver just 8 terraced houses. The rest is mainly 1 and 2 bedroom flats. West Ealing Broadway has suffered especially cruelly from the wrecking ball. The council calls this regeneration, but that's something this thriving local centre never needed. It's always been a colourful, multi-ethnic place buzzing with entrepreneurs trading out small-scale retail units. That's now changing. Gone is the iconic 1930s Art Deco Woolworths building, to be replaced by yet another oversized, ill-designed block of flats standing alongside the equally nondescript redevelopment of the BHS site next door. Nearby is West Ealing Station, another Crossrail stop. The new line was always going to attract new residents, so Ealing's local plan included guidelines for 2 sites at Manor and Hastings Roads. They said the height and scale of new developments should reflect the character of the surrounding areas. New development must be low-rise and not overlook the adjacent 2-storey terraced residential properties to create a harmonious streetscape and respect the current building line. Imagine the shock when developers announced the council was supporting plans for towers of 25 and 26 storeys here. No one has ever explained how this relates to the local plan. Now into Ealing Town Centre, where the developers have had a big impact. We'll focus here on the council's offices at Percival House. Built just 37 years ago, the council declared it time to redevelop the building as its lifts and air conditioning needed renewing. They found a partner to build not just new offices, but almost 500 flats as well. Getting so much onto this confined site is quite a squeeze. The solution? 5 giant blocks, the tallest with 26 floors, will be visible across Ealing. It will dwarf the town hall, which once stood proud as an icon of civic pride. With Ealing acting as both the planning authority and a partner of the developers, it has a conflict of interest. With so much invested in the development, how can the council judge it objectively? Heading east, we pass through South Acton on the way to our penultimate stop. Close to Acton Mainline Station is a 1980s low-rise estate at Forit Park, which has a couple of hundred homes. Ealing Council recently gave consent to replace these with almost 1,000 flats in 6 towers of up to 24 storeys. Nearby residents with Edwardian and 1930s houses and gardens were appalled by the excessive scale, so totally out of context with the area's suburban character. Finally, to Park Royal between the A40 and North Acton Underground Station. Ealing's local plan calls this the Southern Gateway. Like Southall's southeast quadrant, the London plan sees this as an opportunity area and encourages redevelopment of the industrial land. But there is no strategy or plan. For 10 years, ever higher developments have been waved through, each justified by the height of the last. From the 18-storey costume store scheme to a giddy 55 storeys at 4 Portal Way, the 3rd tallest tower in London. Curiously, more than 2 out of every 5 housing units here are for students. Almost all of them are institutions not actually in Ealing. As we're constantly told, Ealing has a housing crisis. Why is the council favouring students from outside the borough over local people? We hope this short tour has opened your eyes to how our borough is changing. In 2012, Ealing had a target of building 14,000 additional homes by 2026. Now in 2020, at least 40,000 housing units are already either built or in the pipeline. Make no mistake, it's just the beginning. The new London plan is setting Ealing a new target to build more than 21,500 units in the next 10 years. Where will all these homes go? Most of the best sites have now been built on. The only way is up, and that's a scary thought. Thank you for joining us on this tour of the Borough. Please visit our website and follow us on Twitter and Instagram for more information and stay up to date with the latest news.